I think that the Electoral College should be abolished. It is very clear to me that the Electoral College System should be removed. With the Electoral College, if a presidential candidate receives more votes than the opponent, they can still lose, which is not democracy. It is not democracy, and it basically means that votes of the people may not end up counting at all. I think elections would get a higher turnout if it was done by the popular vote instead of the Electoral College System. Then your vote basically won't count, because what's the point if your state is already going to vote heavily to the opposite party of yours? Because this is the problem. We have so-called solid states, which is the problem. If it was done, if the popular vote ended up to determine who is president, then we would receive higher turnout. And the reason why we get higher turnout is because people in so-called solid states, which we have now, which is why the Electoral College System shouldn't be here, is because if we didn't have the Electoral College System, then people who live in which we call now solid democratic states, they will be more motivated to vote because they don't have to live in a solid state. We are a democracy of which the votes of the people determined the outcome of every election. And in 2016, in the 2016 election, like a lot of elections, it showed that votes for Hillary Clinton didn't count. And she received more votes than Donald Trump and still lost, which is unfair. So basically, it does not make sense. If more people vote for you, you can still lose. It does not make sense. So the real way it should be is the majority of Americans vote for, then that they should be the president. Now, with the Electoral College System, it's basically, even if a majority of Americans vote for you, you still might lose because of the Electoral College System. It's clear and it's very stupid. The Electoral College System should be removed, because with the Electoral College System, even if majority of Americans want you than the other candidate, you can still lose. It's anti-democracy right here. So I actually have a problem. I'm obviously not allowed to vote, but when I do vote, here's my problem. I live in a so-called solid state that votes for the opposite of my party. See, here in California, it's called a solid state, and the reason why it's called a solid state is because of the Electoral College. It wouldn't be called a solid state if it wasn't for the Electoral College. And my vote, for example, if I vote for Donald Trump in 2024, which I'm obviously not allowed to vote, but if I do, my vote won't count because I'm in a solid state, and the problem is the Electoral College System. It goes by states, so basically each state has its own government. So I don't get it. Why not just have the popular vote? And basically, which candidate receives more votes shall win. With the Electoral College System, if majority of Americans voted for you, you still could lose. That's why the Electoral College System is so stupid. And this is one of the few things in politics. There's a lot of things that I actually want changing, and this is one of them, where the Electoral College System needs to move on. It needs to go. And mainly actually Republicans want to keep the Electoral College System, while Democrats do not. You see here, I'm not a Democrat, and while I want the Electoral College System to go, and I'm not even a Democrat, and mainly Democrats. The Democratic Party wants the Electoral College System to go, and I'm not even a Democrat, because you see here, this is facts. It doesn't mean I'm a Republican. It doesn't mean I can't go against what majority of my party believes in. No, this is true, that the Electoral College System, it needs to go. It really does, and it's unfair. You see here, I genuinely believe that Hillary Clinton should have won in 2016. She received more votes than Donald Trump by 2%. It's just 2%. But still, more Americans voted for her than Trump, and she still lost because of the Electoral College System. And with the Electoral College System, it basically has each state as its own government, because it basically goes by states. And I don't really like that, because my vote will basically not count. For example, I could just mention in 2024, if I go up to vote, my vote won't count because the state's already going to the Democratic candidate. It's a solid Democratic state you see here. But there would not be a such thing as a solid state if the Electoral College wasn't a thing. With the Electoral College, there are solid states, and it bothers me because I live in California where it's going to go left either way. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And like I said, why not just have the popular vote? So that means every vote counts, no matter if you live in a solid state or not. Because if you live in a solid state, your vote won't count. And that's why I think the popular vote is way better, because with the popular vote, people in so-called solid states, which we call them now because of the Electoral College System, will be more motivated to vote because their vote will count. So let's say I'm a Republican in California voting, my vote won't count because it's going to go to California's already going blue. It's solid. But if the popular vote would determine the election, then everyone would vote, no matter what state you're in, because it's done by more votes. But see, with the Electoral College System, if you live in a solid state that majority of it votes for the opposite party of yours, your vote won't count. And that's my issue. And people need to wake up to that, and we should do whatever we can do to abolish the Electoral College System. Because it's not democracy. It's really not democracy. Where even if a candidate receives more votes, it can still lose. That's very stupid. Like, majority of Americans wanted Hillary Clinton, or voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, but she still lost because of the Electoral College System. I don't really like that. Let me know your opinions down in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? And probably if you live in a solid state that votes for majority of it votes for the opposite party of yours, you probably feel the same issue. That since we have the Electoral College System, for example, if you're a Democrat in, I guess, Wyoming, your vote won't count, and that's an issue because we have the Electoral College System. I mean, it's obviously going to count, but it's not going to determine your vote won't determine the winner, because you're obviously in a safe Republican state. So I'm in a safe state, and it bothers me because it's going to go blue anyways, and I would vote red, but my vote won't basically count because the state's going to go blue. I don't like it how it goes by states. It should go by more votes, who has more votes. It shouldn't go by which the states, you know what I mean? So let me know your opinions down in the comment section below. And you guys should also do whatever you can do to try to get the word out to abolish the Electoral College System, because it's very unfair. It's very unfair. I mean, I can receive more votes than the other candidate but still lose. Majority of more Americans voted for me than the other candidate, and I can still lose because of the Electoral College System. I don't like that. So, that's pretty much it. Let me know your opinions in the comment section down below.